You have cancer.
I was born for the wind, for the spray of the ocean, for the feeling of weightlessness. But dreams don't ask for permission before they're taken away. When the doctor said malignant, the world slowed. When he said surgery, it stopped.
So when I met Weronika for the first time and I communicated the diagnosis itself, it was very difficult for her to cope in the first place. She had the bone tumor around this place. This tumor, which is called chondrosarcoma, it is treated very difficult, and surgery has to be done radically in the first place because you cannot support yourself with the chemotherapy or with the radiotherapy afterwards. When she had to face the reality that we cannot guarantee that she will return full 100% to what she was doing before, that was absolutely devastating for her.
I remember him just telling me, "You will never windsurf again." I thought I actually wanted to die. I really wanted to die. I looked him in the face, I looked my mother in the face, and I told them, no, there won't be any surgery. I prefer to die if I won't be able to windsurf again.
That day, our fight with cancer began, but it was the worst day in our lives. I will never forget this. As I said, Weronika throwing on the corridor, lying on the floor, saying that she will not do the surgery, she must swim. That was really very hard for us.
When Weronika called me, she had maybe 8 months left. Without the surgery, it was life or death.
We called Michał like 1,000 times every day. I don't know even how he endured with us, and he was so patient for us.
Don't hesitate. It's one-shot situation. Do it, and maybe you will live, or don't do it and you will die. Don't overthink it.
So we had to remove the entire tumor with the radical margins going around the actual tumor. It's very difficult because when you look around, here you also have muscles.
Removal of the bony structure here didn't have a really big impact on the mechanics. But the problem is the soft tissue, the muscles. It's essential to preserve the coordination of our body.
We managed to excise the tumor with the clear margins, which means we removed a massive part of her iliac bone, including part of her sacroiliac joint. And we also managed to reconstruct the muscles of the pelvic ring.
Half of my pelvis gone, and with it, they said, my future on the water. It felt like I didn't know my own body anymore.
After the surgery, when Weronika lived with us, it was so hard to look at her, not able to do any daily routines like washing, going to the toilet. It was absolutely beyond her possibilities. Lying in bed was so painful for her. She took so many medicines. Well, to be honest, I stopped to believe she will be back to the normality.
The outcome of the surgery, the first 2-3 weeks, this is the horrible thing. They have a huge scar, they have huge pain, they don't understand the situation, and they don't believe in that primary state with this pain and with this huge scar and wounds that it's going to be good.
The pain was brutal. Every tiny step forward felt meaningless. And then there was the voice in my head, is it really over? I started giving up before the fight even began. No one ever tells you how hard it is, the mental battle you have to go through, the pain you have to endure. It's unreal.
As a father, I could only imagine doing everything I can just to help her out. It wasn't difficult because, you know, we love her. We try to support her all the time. The question was, how? I mean, what can we do? What can I do personally? I mean, honestly, it's basically only emotional support that we can provide.
Maybe I had got rid of the cancer, but everything I went through was still going on in my head. I asked myself questions, why? Why me? Why didn't have to happen to me? People surrounding me didn't understand the bigger issue. They still don't. So I was waking up every morning knowing that I actually feel helpless. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to go through the pain over and over.
She was in pain, but I refused to let her drown in it. I told her, if you can't run, I push you. If you can't stand, I hold you. And if you forget how to love, I remind you why we are alive.
I wasn't ready to let go, not of life, not of wind, not of my dreams. You need to remember who you were, who you are, and that your story definitely isn't over yet.
All the physical part, it wasn't her. She had to do all of the hard work. She had to go through all the pain. She had to go through all the rehab.
The memory of windsurfing, the freedom, the feeling of weightlessness, it pushed me forward like a tide I couldn't resist. So they told me it's gonna take me 3 months to start walking, maybe with one crutch, maybe without. It took me just 6 weeks to start walking with the crutches, and 2 weeks later, I was already walking on my own. People told me to be patient. Walking was already a miracle in such a short time, but I just knew I had to keep going if I want to go back to windsurfing. So I woke up and every day I worked out, trained to do my rehab exercises. I just used every moment possible to get back into form.
Her passion for sports was there ever since she was little. At the age of 3, actually not even 3, we had her skiing down on FIS slope. It was ridiculous. We had somebody that was 190 centimeters tall teaching somebody that was just so tiny. It was hilarious, but there she was. She was flying that downhill. Then it went through different things. She tried every sport: tennis, rollerblading, skiing. And then I do remember that one of the first times when we went to Croatia, we met there Mirek Małek, and she took lessons with him. And you could really see back then that is when you could see she fell in love with the sport, heart and soul. It was all she wanted to do afterwards. I mean, Korčula, it's right there. That's one of the first times we saw her on the, windsurfing board. That's where it all started.
Cancer took a lot more from me than just a bone. It took my self-confidence. It took my passion, my way of living. It's not just about the body anymore. It's also about the head. There was a moment when I realized that staying was more dangerous than leaving, not for my body, but for my mind. Rhodes wasn't a comeback. It was a question I finally dared to answer. They say time heals, but sometimes you don't need time. You need space. Arriving in Prasunici finally gave me distance. Distance from fear, from hospitals, from pain, and most of all, distance from that haunting question, what if? What if I never get back? What if this is it?
From a medical point of view, after such a surgery, returning to a sport like windsurfing is not straightforward. It is always very difficult. But if you have your hat sorted and you have the goal at the end of your road, everything is possible.
The chance of feeling myself again was just stronger than the fear. So I had to go on a beginner board first to see if windsurfing was possible at all. The water was calling me back, but it wasn't the same anymore. My body felt foreign, my strength was missing, my balance was gone, and I had to realize that I need to wait a bit more.
You can just go there and find out that you are not ready yet, and this is the worst.
It wasn't just about getting back to windsurfing, to standing on that board again. It was about reclaiming a part of myself that was gone, that I lost within the process.
And it was super stressful. I saw her cry pretty much every day, thinking about how it could be.
There are two types of people in this world. The ones who accept fate and the ones who break it. And I chose to be the second group. The board started to plane and I was weightless again. I was free. The wind touched me like it remembered me. I closed my eyes and for a second I forgot about everything I went through. And then it was back, the feeling I've been fighting for. They said it was impossible, but sometimes you need to prove the world wrong. I'm not a pro windsurfer. I don't land big tricks. I'm no Olympic gold medalist. So for some people, it might be silly. Why does it mean so much to me? But it's so much more than being the best. It's about being alive. It's about the passion. It's about fighting for what you want to achieve in life. My life will never be the same. I'm built differently now, both in body and mind. But within that difference, I discovered something new, something fierce, something strong. My name is Weronika, and I'm back. This isn't a comeback. This is a reckoning.
I really want everyone out there struggling to know that if you just put your head into it, you can do it. You can achieve everything you want, even when everyone around says you can't. Just put it all together and you can achieve anything.